So you've never discovered a cryptid?
No. Very few cryptids are ever discovered, and not for a lack of trying. To stay hidden is a cryptid's primary quality. It's even in the name, cryptid.
So how many cryptids have been found?
Of the list of cryptids kept by the Cryptozoological Society of Chemnee, which is 4,082 items long, about 2,000 have been confirmed as hoaxes.
That sounds wonderful.
2 are categorized as confirmed discoveries. The rest are in differing stages of discovery, refutation, and data collection.
Only 2 have been proven to be real?
Yes, the Chateau Quan forest pygmy, who turned out to be an extinct species of primate, and a cave salamander from Hugo Grad, who is, honestly, quite unremarkable. It's in a zoo somewhere. We cryptozoologists are brutally honest with ourselves, more so even than the public. With cryptids, most cryptids are hoaxes or they are never found. That does not mean we should stop searching.
I'm gonna be positive toward him. I mean, being out in this mud and water and all that must be pretty tough on you. Then the Insulidian phasmid will be a third, and OBS disconnected again. You'll love to see it. My internet connection today is rough.
Indeed.
He
If
does.
our expedition is successful, every paper in the world will report on it. From Revachol to Dushantu. It will be a zoological miracle.
Well, that sounds great.
The hair on your arms stand up. Electricity. Sounds like reeds hissing.
Is it nearby, the phasmid?
He has clearly done his math on this. There is no surprising him or swaying his opinion.
So you're living your childhood dream out here?
It's not child's play. Just because I have to traipse through the mud every so often.
Alright, alright. Thanks for explaining that. Now about something else.
Yes?
Lena seems pretty eager for you to return.
And I'm eager to return to her, I assure you. But I can't leave before we finish with these traps. My wife understands that just as well as anyone.
He looks south where Lena would be.
Come on, Morale. We've been soaking out here for days. It's time to go back.
Nah, I think the fascists should soak in the mud a little longer.
And leave the traps? Absolutely not. I won't let Lena down.
Come on, she wants us back. I'm soaked up to my nuts over here. We'll both catch reed crabs if we don't dry out soon.
I didn't know the phasmid was so important to Lena.
Of course it's important to her. She's seen it. A verified sighting, on record. One of only 4 this century, and it's hers.
Oh,
She's seen it.
really? She's sighted the phasmid? She didn't tell me that.
Yes, that's how we first came to know one another, in fact. But that's her story to tell, not mine.
He coughs, then continues.
Suffice to say, it's long been our dream to find proof of the Insulindian phasmid together. I can't abandon course now.
Another cough into his fist this time. Maybe you could go back to the whirling, warm up, come back to check on the traps later. You should just give up on this bug hunt. Okay, I understand. I don't give up on things either. I have postponed a lot of things in this playthrough so far, so let's suggest that.
No, no, no. The traps need to be monitored on a regular schedule. What would we do if the phasmid were to starve while we were sipping tea at the hostel?
He's dead set on this.
Well, alright then.
I could go for some trap setting.
What if we check the traps for you?
I didn't expect you to take such an interest in our work here, officer.
He looks at you with obvious surprise. Cryptozoology and detective work are very similar. Chaos is my method. I am its scion. I am all in with this cryptid shit. I'm hooked. Yeah, it's very similar.
Yes, indeed. Both require a great deal of research, attention to detail, and, above all, persistence.
Where are these traps?
There are 4 in total. One is to the south, on this little peninsula, by the boathouses there. It's very near. Another we set in Land's End, to the northeast. It's behind a small sand dune there, on your way to the old radio tower, after the church. The third is set near the canal, where you crossed, by a concrete slab. A big thicket of reeds going up the slope, and among them,
He gestures to the trap in front of him.
you should check at least one of those before returning to this one, since I just said it. This one's more of a technicality, but still, better safe and stupid than sorry.
That seems like a lot. Do we really have time for this extracurricular venture?
What, aren't you having fun?
Even relative to examining a weak old corpse, I'm not sure mucking about in the reeds qualifies as fun. But have it your way, detective.
If you think it's important, you have been right before.
What do I do if there's a phasmid in one of the traps?
Bring it to me at once. Just make sure the trap is closed tight.
He's not comfortable with the possibility that you'll claim the find, but he's lying about this even to himself.
What if I encounter the phasmid in the wild?
That's highly unlikely, officer. But in the event you do, I'll spray you with a pheromone mixture I developed. It's made of musk and research chemicals. The pheromone should attract the insect to you, or at least prevent it from bolting at the sight of you. It's quite potent. Will last you about a week.
Lay it on me. Lay it on me thick. I don't want this, thank you very much. Lay it on me, sure.
Wise choice.
He douses you with the odd-smelling spray, and then gives you a satisfied nod.
This is the smell of dying reeds, of longing crumbling into the water.
I hope you're not buying this. He dispenses it without letting you touch the canister, so it would be precious like holy water.
It is precious. A single dose cost me 50 real to develop. Not that I expect you to understand self-financing one's own research.
He looks at the lieutenant with disdain, then puts the spray back in his pocket. I'm ready, let's get to it.
Right. Which means you two can pack up and go back to the boiling.
Finally, someone's talking sense.
Thank you for your help. Gary and I will start breaking down camp. If you have any more questions, now's the time to ask. We'll be gone once you get to it.
If it's more cryptid-related business you want to discuss, you'll have time for that later too. But what if the information is vital? On the hunt.
Let's talk about specific cryptids.
All right? What cryptids precisely? I usually discuss these things with specialists, so I don't know what.
We would have to discuss. He wants to say, but decides against it, since you've offered to help. You need to ask him about specific cryptids. Cryptids you've heard about from Lena, or his friend Gary. He won't just talk.
Okay, so we... I don't remember if she taught she talked to us about specific cryptids. I think she might have, but I'm not entirely sure anymore. But we don't have an option here, so oh right, the one they almost caught.
A willow person. It's a long story. One non-specialist would find rather dull.
Willow people? Not at all.
What are willow people?
They're not people, really. Some argue they aren't really animals, as they seem to have evolved directly from trees.
He says it in a self-explanatory, everyday manner.
They're very, very thin, almost flat in fact, and can camouflage themselves easily. wrapping themselves around trees and blending in with the tree bark. In that way, they're not too dissimilar from the phasmid we're looking for here.
Wait, so I may have seen these willow people without knowing it? How did you almost catch a willow person? First one first.
You probably have.
How did you almost catch a willow person?
Harry and I painted an entire grove's worth of trees in slow-drying paint. It was a bright lavender colour. I was hoping one of the willow people would get paint on it and not be able to camouflage itself. After waiting in hiding for hours, I saw a figure slip from one of the trees, a lavender shadow, dashing through the grove.
And then?
I chased it with a net. Not very elegant. You can't be elegant in the field. And, well, it was faster than me.
A lavender shadow.
He smirks.
I know you think we were snacking on funny mushrooms. It's easier to mock someone than to admit that the world might be more interesting than you've imagined. Furthermore, I'm not saying it was a confirmed sighting. I'm painfully aware of what goes into verifying such things. There is a serious possibility that I saw a squirrel or a trick of the light. I am my own harshest critic.
I'm sure of that, yeah.
He makes it a real point here to sound falsifiable.
And Lena's sighting of the phasmid, is that...
Confirmed. It's 100% verified and meets all the standards of an authentic cryptid sighting.
Okay. Just tell me about a cool cryptid, any cryptid.
No offense, officer, but I'm not much of a pedagogue. I don't know what I would have done if Lena hadn't persuaded me to go back to field research. You should ask her if you want interesting stories.
Alright.
Me? I'm not a people person, unless you haven't noticed. And I don't make a good lecturer. My strength lies in field work and persistence.
Okay, enough tales then. Let's change the
By
subject.
all means.
I'll get going. Okay, so we've spent quite a bit of time here. And we have another skill point. This time we'll put it into half-light, because that's the lowest we can upgrade. Yes, sure. I think I'm a bit tired today, so I'm gonna go up here to that, talk to the people there, and I think afterwards I'm gonna call it a day. We'll see if we can go up there. I think we should be able to. Yeah, I don't think that slope is too steep for us. That works. Let's explore that. I know I wanted to talk to Joyce as well, and maybe the smoker on the balcony, but that's gonna have to wait for next time, I suppose. Bars cover these long, dusty windows. Oh, this place is big as well. Okay, there's no one here. Anything of interest? A barrel. Another way down. Let's look at the barrel first. Some coins. A makeshift roof. Vagrants have tried to make this boardwalk habitable. That tarp will keep out neither rain, nor snow, nor wind. What do we have here? A coin-operated weighing machine hasn't been used for a decade. Some more... No! Glasses. Mega Binos prescription lenses. Encyclopedia +2, but -1 perception. Vagrants have recently painted the tarp red. Water drips from it. Well, if water drips from it, that means it's probably not soaking it up as much. Maybe that's good, I don't know. What do we have here?
Someone has left an unidentifiable article of clothing on this railing. It smells really bad.
Let's take a closer look
It's
first.
streaked with dried seagull shit and tangled with pieces of seaweed. A dangling arm suggests that there might be a jacket beneath the crust of filth.
So the one guy said we came out of the water with... Wait, can we use that now? I don't know. No, that's for whitejacks, right? Yeah. The one guy said that we came out of the water covered in shit and seaweed, so that might be
It
ours.
seems likely that it was left in the surf until someone laid it out on this fence to dry out. Unfortunately, that just seems to have stiffened it into a shapeless mass.
Wonderful.
Please tell me you're not taking that with you.
Why not?
It's a guano-encrusted jacket, and you're already carrying around enough as it is.
Okay. Let's take it. Don't tell me what to do, Kim. This filthy rag has been at the mercy of the elements for quite some time. It's streaked with seagull shit and abnormally stiff from God knows what natural processes. You can't even tell what brand it is.
As you hold it in your hands, it makes an uncomfortable crunching sound.
Man, how did this jacket get so disgusting?
It's a sordid, filthy tale, not for the weak. Are you sure you can stomach it?
Sure.
Some secrets are better left uncovered. Don't even try. Seriously.
Think about
It
it.
occurs to you that you're not even holding the jacket itself, but rather the thick crust of jetsam and seagull shit that ensconces it. It smells like a dead sea creature, tangled in grey strands of seaweed. It must have spent quite some time in the water before the tide deposited it ashore.
Gross.
Why? Why did you think about it? Look at your hands. They're covered in muck.
I'll flick them.
Now you're just flicking that shit everywhere. This is a disaster. You'll never get the smell out.
Wonderful. I'm glad I did that. That was definitely worthwhile. Okay, inspecting the traps. Sure, I'll do that. Like eventually, like this isn't a game where I progress quickly. This is a game where I take forever because I take a lot of dialogue options. Okay, now later. Ah,
The remaining windows rattle from a strong gust of wind. They're covered in a thick layer of grime. They must have been like this for 40 years.
Lieutenant, can you make out what's inside?
No. I won't even try. You know,
He takes his glasses off.
I had a partner once. They called him Eyes, because he had to show me things. It's that bad.
Okay. Let's not dig deeper into that. Alright, there's the people I saw earlier. Anything interesting to say?
And Mikhail noticed the windows, especially with how there are no windows on the south side. This was to deal with.
A blond man stands next to his son, pointing to the weather-worn ruins. He sees you approaching and smiles.
You officers, come to investigate the historic subtext of West Martinez? I'm Khan Hailostam. You must be Kim Kitsuragi, right? I was just telling my son about this building. Not a lot of people realize the historic significance here. Very rich in hypertext.
Nice to meet you.
Hold on, hypertext? Wait, what was that about the windows before? You and Kim know each other? Hold on, hypertext?
Yes, hypertext. Young Carp and the collection of cultural hyperlinks.
Wait, what was that about the window before?
Oh yes, so Mikhail. They had to deal with monitor glare, especially in the summer. They still had vector monitors back then. That was 49 years ago. So they didn't have windows on the south wall.
You and Kim know each other?
No, I can't say that we've met before, but I've heard of Kim, of course. Mikhail, say hi to the officers.
He rests his hand on the boy's shoulders. The child stays hidden behind the hem of his father's coat, clutching it to his worm-themed coloring book.
Mikhail's a little tired today. We spent all night trying to run Orbis on his radio computer. Have you heard of it? It's a programming language used in Grad. Quite tricky, but he wanted to play this Grad-made adventure program. We've been getting really into worms lately.
The man speaks in the artificial cadence of a professor, or someone who's been on too many radio shows.
But I assume you're not here for giant worms when there are so many real things to see. Just as I was telling Mikhail before, this is where the Coalition landed in '08. We could be standing on what is the most interesting landmark in Revachol West.
He points to the buildings again.
This man is your half-brother. You feel it. But why? Well, get a load of this guy. He really enjoys his trivia. The Orbis programming language was named after its inventor, Victor Orbis, a cybernetician from Grad. They run Vox in the Occidental countries.
What's so fascinating about an empty old building? You look like someone who has money. Do you have any money? Great, thank you for the interesting information. Let's ask what's so fascinating.
Aha! But it's not just any empty old building.
He raised his hand to his eyes to shield himself from the freezing snow. All four of you turn to admire the mural before you.
What not a lot of people know is this used to be the R&D department of Felt Electrical. And Felt, which now sells ink cartridges mostly, was once a top dog in the turn-of-the-century cybernetics boom.
Let's look at the building looming over us.
It looks old and weathered, with seagulls picking apart its stone and metal carcass. Bushy undergrowth has taken hold of the collapsed rooftop. Some kind of bird has set up a nest on a broken windowsill.
I don't think I've ever heard of this Felt Electrical.
That's not surprising. Only a vestigial ink cartridge and ferrotape manufacturer remains.
He adjusts his suit jacket.
They started out as a midway electronics outfit in Königstein 2 centuries ago. After an aggressive move to Revachol, Feld became a global player in the emerging personal electronics market of the pre-revolutionary era. Still, Tricentennial was beating them in business machines. But Feld had an ace up their sleeve. Or should I say, they were developing an ace up their sleeve? I'm mixing my metaphors here.
What was that ace?
It was here in Martinez, possibly in this very building, that they developed prototypes for a tape computer.
A tape computer?
An elegant folding mechanism of rollers and ferrotape ribbons, portable enough to be a take-it-home solution, revolutionizing business machines, possibly even bring them to the average consumer, which is a feat of engineering even today's giants, Rehm, ICN and ZAM, haven't achieved yet.
He grins, admiring the sentence he just produced.
He assumes something like a combat stance, facing the wind.
What happened?
Indeed. What?
The revolution!
The boy wipes his nose on his sleeve.
Unfortunately, their moonshot project never made it to the market. Feld's move to Revachol backfired. The revolutionary government liquefied their assets and expropriated those very advanced prototypes, possibly from this very building, or one of the adjacent ruins.
He pauses, pointing to the other building, then continues.
All of this was built by Feld, even the boardwalk. Wild Pines built Martinez proper as a resort for their middle management. Feld built this side of town for R&D.
You're saying that Felt Electrical built this boardwalk?
Yes, they even built a pleasure wheel, but that got destroyed in the war.
A pleasure wheel?
The lieutenant looks wistfully at the horizon as if picturing gondolas rising to the sky.
Yes, to lure in their star engineers. This part of Martinez was nothing but reeds before Feld arrived. They had to make the prospect of living here attractive. It was supposed to become a global center for innovation in cybernetics. But history had other plans.
What happened to the engineers, the company people?
Oh, I'm afraid it didn't end well for the boys. But this story is a bit too dark for little Mikhail here. Now, if you were to ask about tape computers...
He means that the boys got shot by the communists. The boys were bourgeois.
I'm not gonna do that. That would be rude. Tape computers, right.
Tape computers.
He nods, wind tousling his suit jacket. Didn't know that word. What did the revolutionaries do with those advanced tape computers?
They used them for military communications, but also to write and send out press releases. The most notorious example being Le Décret de Mars.
What was that?
What's the Mars Decree? I mean the radio transmission sent out to news agencies and world governments by the newly created Commune of Revachol on the 7th of March in the year 02.
A short-lived legislative foundation for a short-lived utopia.
It's a beautiful piece of text, actually. A singer-songwriter I know, Charette, called it a love poem to Revachol on her political concept album, Bon Baiser dans ce Lind. You should read it. Every local library in Revachol stocks a copy of the decree. I tried to get Mikhail to memorize it. Tried to. Someone was much too interested in worms to be paying any attention.
The kid takes a peek at the green and silver worm on the cover of the book, already forgetting about this part of the discussion.
How did those tape computers work?
Actually, no one knows. No one even knows what a computer made entirely of tape would look like. But word has it, they were very elegant, exquisite, alien-looking turn-of-the-century hardware.
He raises his finger, remembering something.
Buckle up.
10 years ago, I did a little freelancing, I guess you could say. I was a special consultant for an exhibition at the Wompty Dumpty Dum Center in Vredefort, Oranje. It raised the same questions, and we had lengthy discussions with Paul Ockerman, who was head curator at the time. This was before the twins Keith and Guy Hughes joined the team, trying to...
Dutch is just such a fun language, isn't it? Or at least, it's supposed to sound like Dutch.
Wait, did he just say Wompty Dumpty Dum Center?
Honestly, with Dutch it wouldn't surprise me if that's a real thing.
He did it. He said Wompty Dumpty Dum Center, like it's the most natural thing in the world. What the hell is a Wompty Dumpty Dum Center? And who the hell are Keith and Guy Juiced?
Yeah, let's ask
The
about
Wompty
that.
Dumpty Dum Center for Contemporary Arts. The exhibition itself drew on Lagerman's notion of memory, and so there were some parallels. That's why the head curator, Paul Ockerman, chose to...
You're making this up. Kim, he's making this up. Come on, there is no place called the Wompty Dumpty Dum Center of Arts.
Actually, I think there is. No, it's too much. He's joking.
In fact, I'm not. The Wompty Dumpty Dum Center is a place you can visit if you're ever in Vredefort and are ever in the market for an exhibition space / contemporary art research center.
He clears his throat.
But perhaps I should return to the tape computers. As I was saying, the device itself was very elegant, fragile even. One could write directly on the tape using a special chemical solution. The machine would then analyze the handwriting, perform operations, and project output onto a white screen. It was a beautiful, delicate thing.
Made of black film and folding tape structures.
Cool. I've seen cooler things than that. The RCM should get some of those. Cool.
Very, very cool. Though I understand the socio-economic causes of the revolution, it pains me to imagine the revolutionaries setting fire to this precious device. But so they did. The felt playback experiment vanished into the fires of '07.
Wait, the Felt playback experiment?
Yes, the official name of the prototype. Some sources report it as the Felt Playback Experience, but those are incorrect.
Why did the revolutionaries destroy it?
Who knows? Maybe it was an accident, or maybe they didn't want the technology to end up in the wrong hands. Either way, they're all gone now. All 3 versions of the prototype. Nothing but debris and ashes remain inside that building.
He takes a step back. The boardwalk creaks mournfully in the wind. I wanted to ask something
But of
else.
course, what else?
Should we ask about money? I think we're relatively well off right now.
I do have some money, yes, but that's not what's really important here.
He brushes it off like he's like it's not a thing at all.
No, I mean, come on. You need the money. If it's not a thing, he can give you some.
I don't need the money right now. I can now live for free, so that's good. I don't have to pay a guard anymore. So I don't want your money. I just wanted to see whether my profiling skills were working.
Of course, Detective, I wouldn't have assumed anything else. Matter of fact,
He looks up again, a playful hint shining in his eyes.
I don't know if you're familiar with this, but the Vespertine Department of Justice has published a rather interesting paper on the criminal profiling in former socialist states. Have you read it? If not, then you definitely should. If not for tips and tricks, then just for theoretical curiosity. Anyway, that's just a little something that sprang to mind. You were saying?
Forget it. They don't sell those kind of books at crime, romance, and biographies of famous people.
That's a shame. Great. Thanks for all the interesting information.
No, thanks to you for having me and little Michaela here to pick your brain. A very interesting conversation indeed.
Yes.
Pick your brain. If anything, this was rather one-sided. He did the talking. Whatever.
Alright, now I'm quickly gonna look at the mural. Maybe
You
you can do
see,
something here?
a once bright mural towering above you. The signage has peeled off over the years, but you can still make out Feld Electrical R&D. A slogan used to intertwine with the loops a long time ago. Now, only a shadow of peeled letters remains. It says, tomorrow is just a whisper away.
Tomorrow is just
Looks
a
like
whisper
tomorrow
away.
never came.
Yep. The lieutenant raises the collar of his bomber jacket. Let's turn away for now. What is this? Another power box. It charges nothing now. It's empty. Some money. And the fence blocks the path. No way on from here. And I think with that, I'm gonna call it a day. I'm very tired today. I've nearly overslept and nearly was late to work. So yeah, I really, need to decompress some more from work. But anyways, thanks for watching and dealing with my shoddy internet today. I really should get a new internet connection, but I've been pushing that, further down the road for months now. But yeah, anyways, thanks for watching and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.